He steps off the court, heart still pounding from another high-stakes rally in his fourth-round clash at the Cincinnati Open. Carlos Alcaraz, the world number 2 and 5-time Grand Slam champion, looks calm on the outside, but anyone watching closely can see there's a fire just beneath the surface. He has just secured a commanding 6-1, 6-4 win over Italy's Luca Nardi. It's another step towards the title, another match where his talent seems untouchable. Victory is sweet, but on this night, it's not the scoreline that has the world talking. It's a strange, almost absurd, dispute that will overshadow the tennis for a few crucial minutes. As Alcaraz takes a seat courtside to collect himself between games, the chair umpire, Greg Allensworth, leans forward and delivers an unexpected instruction. He tells Carlos that he needs to cover the Evian logo on his water bottle. The reason? Evian is not a sponsor of the Cincinnati Open. The tournament's official water sponsor is Aquafina, meaning that any other brand displayed on court violates sponsorship rules. Normally, these branding details are caught before the match or handled discreetly. But here, in the middle of the action, it's suddenly placed on Alcaraz's shoulders to fix. Alcaraz's expression changes instantly. Confusion flashes first, then disbelief, and then the unmistakable edge of frustration. "It wasn't my fault," he says, his voice tight with irritation. "Why should I have to cover it because you missed it? You're telling me I have to pay because of your fault." His tone rises as the exchange continues. "It doesn't work like this. I'm not going to cover it." The umpire admits quietly, "It's my fault, I didn't catch it sooner." But the damage is done. The exchange is caught on camera, microphones pick up every word, and within minutes, it's spreading across social media. For fans in the stadium, the moment feels odd, out of place for such a high-level match. But for those watching online, it becomes an instant talking point. Tweets flood in, "This is so stupid," one fan writes. "No one would have noticed if they hadn't made a big deal about it," says another. The dispute isn't about a call, a rule violation, or unsportsmanlike conduct. It's about a bottle, a brand logo, a sponsorship technicality. Yet somehow, it reveals something raw and real about the pressures that come with playing at the very top. And despite the brief outburst, Alcaraz doesn't let it throw him off. Moments later, he's back on court, laser-focused on his serve, chasing down shots, and striking winners with the same precision he started with. He closes out the match, books his spot in the quarterfinals, and notches his 50th win of the 2025 season. For most players, 50 wins in a year would be a career highlight. For Carlos, it's another milestone on a list that's still growing. But it's the contrast, the champion in full flow and the man irritated by an off-court hiccup, that makes the scene unforgettable. What makes this moment so compelling is that it's not just about tennis. It's about the collision between the commercial machine of professional sports and the human being at its center. We're used to seeing Alcaraz as the smiling, humble superstar, someone whose love for the game seems untouched by the corporate side of the sport. But here, for a few minutes, the mask slips. We see pride, irritation, even defiance. We see a man who doesn't like being told to do something mid-battle, especially when it's not his mistake to fix. It's not the first time emotions have boiled over for him at this tournament. Flashback 12 months to the 2024 Cincinnati Open, when Alcaraz was knocked out early by Gael Monfils. The loss stung. Frustration bubbled over and, in a rare public display of anger, he smashed his racket into the hard court, again and again, until the frame splintered. He later described it as, "the worst match I've ever played," and issued a public apology. "I am human," he said in a statement. "I had a lot of nerves inside, and sometimes it's very difficult to control yourself when your heart rate is so high." It was a humbling moment for someone so young and so celebrated, and it reminded the world that even champions can lose control. This year, the situation was different. The trigger wasn't a loss or a poor performance. It was something trivial and almost laughable. Yet the flash of emotion was just as real. The difference was what came next. There was no racket smash, no total loss of composure. He let the frustration out in words, then switched back to business. That's growth. That's maturity. It shows how much has changed in 12 months. What we're witnessing is more than just a player developing his game. It's a person learning to navigate the unpredictable mix of competition, pressure, and politics that come with being one of the sport's biggest stars. Tennis isn't just about hitting forehands and serves. It's about dealing with umpires, sponsors, media, and expectations, all while performing at the highest level. A younger Alcaraz might have let something like this derail his match. The 2025 version turns it into a footnote. Still, the incident lingers in people's minds because it's so relatable. We've all been in situations where we're doing our job well, focused and in control, only for someone to interrupt with a request that feels unnecessary, even unfair. Maybe it's a coworker pointing out a minor issue in the middle of a big presentation, or a manager bringing up a rule that's never been mentioned before. That moment when your concentration is broken, when you feel blindsided, it can be maddening. Seeing it happen to a world-class athlete reminds us that no one is immune to those moments. After the match, the footage kept circulating. Some found it amusing, others thought it was ridiculous, and a few even sided with the umpire, saying rules are rules. But most agreed on one thing: the Evian bottle should never have been an issue in the middle of a match. It was a distraction that didn't need to happen, and the fact that it did only added to the drama of the night. As for Alcaraz, he didn't dwell on it publicly. His focus shifted immediately to the next round, where tougher challenges awaited. That's the mark of a champion, keeping eyes forward, not backward. But make no mistake, moments like this stick in a player's memory. They become part of the internal archive, part of the fuel that drives future performances. Looking at the bigger picture, the Evian bottle incident is a small story in the context of Alcaraz's career. Yet it's these smaller, more human stories that fans remember just as much as the big wins. They remind us that behind every trophy and title, there's a person navigating awkward conversations, random interruptions, and flashes of temper just like the rest of us. They also remind us that the road to greatness isn't just paved with victory. It's littered with moments that test your patience, your professionalism, and your ability to adapt. In the end, this wasn't about breaking rules or disrespecting authority. It was about timing, about a champion's right to focus, and about the fine line between enforcing regulations and disrupting the flow of competition. It was about seeing a player at his most human, and realizing that's part of what makes him so magnetic to watch. Whether he's lifting trophies, smashing rackets, or arguing over a water bottle, Carlos Alcaraz commands attention. And in Cincinnati, on that particular night, he reminded us that the chaos of sport doesn't always come from the score. It can come from the smallest,